Hey everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here in my craft room and on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be working with a stamp set. I'm going to teach you some tricks and tips that you may not already know, and if you do, then just consider this a refresher course. The stamp set that I chose, and I think it's the perfect stamp set to showcase what I want to show you today. It is from the Celebration catalog. You cannot get the stamp by purchasing it, you earn it. And it is the only item in the book that requires a $100 purchase, and it's the Beautifully Happy, and it's showcased on page 13 of the Celebration brochure. And here's the stamp set, and there's some information on here that you would really want to pay attention to. It says the images are at 85%, which means that this is like 15% smaller than what the images actually are. And the reason they downscale it is so that they can fit all the pictures on to the cover. But when you open it up, you're going to see that large flower that's showcased on the front is a bit bigger. So that's what that information gives you. Also, it says underneath it, two-step. So what does two-step means? Two-step means if you're one of those people that dislikes coloring, then you're going to love two-step stamping. And I'm going to show you how you can make it work. And if you have a stamp positioning tool, especially the Stampartus, and the Stampartus does something that most stamp sets do not do, and that's the fact that we have two doors. It comes automatically with these two fold out doors. You can put one here and you can put one here. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to position a stamp for here and one for here, but also you can position two more stamps just by turning these over and positioning a stamp on the other side. So it gives you the opportunity to stamp in 4 different places by loading up that many stamps at one time. Let me further go and show you what I'm talking about. I have a little, this is one of our contoured scallop dies, and scallop contours, I'm sorry, I always say that wrong, but I'm going to put that in, and I want to line this up right over to this edge because I want to make sure that my scallops are lined up right across there, and I'm going to put a magnet there. Now I'm using this foam mat. This is separate from the purchase. When you buy the Stampartus, you get a black one, but it doesn't have the grids on it. So if you need the grids or you want a surface that you can wipe off, this mat has a wipe off surface so it never goes bad on you. If you get ink on it, you can just wipe it off with some stamp cleaner. It is a wonderful addition to your Stampartus. So let's go ahead and pull out a few stamps and I'll show you what I'm talking about. The first thing we're going to want to do is stamp our big image. So I'm going to put this down where I want it onto my cardstock, and I think right about there is good. And I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with this door. Now I know it's positioned where I need it, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to bring it down, because after I stamp my image, well, I'll tell you what, let's stamp our image first. Let's go ahead and stamp this, and I'm going to turn it. I'm going to take this one off, and I'll show you. We'll bring that one back in just a moment. We're going to turn the Stampartus this way, and I'm going to put my stamp case under it to give me a nice solid surface here to ink up. And even though I turned it, it still will stamp in the proper place because I didn't move my paper. So I'm inking this up with Tuxedo Memento Tuxedo Black. And let's go ahead and stamp. And remember, by using a Stampartus, if you don't get as bold of an image as you would like, you can re-ink it and stamp it again. And I think I am, because I didn't get those leaves quite as well as I want them to be. So I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm actually going to use my little tool, because this is not a Stampartus, I mean a Stampin' Up item, but I love this for really getting in there and pressing that image. It does a much better job than my hand can do, and it's soft. It's a felt material on the bottom. You can find these at most places. I will let you know where I got mine. I'll link it below the video. And look at that, beautiful. So now I want to turn this around, and I'm gonna place it like this, and my stamp is to the outside now. So I am going to leave that stamp there, because say you wanted to make multiples of these, this will allow you to do that without having to move stamps every time, and that is the beauty of this. So let me grab my stamp again, and now we're going to color our flowers. And you say, well, how are we going to do that? We have this little stamp that will put our flower colors in for us. So what you want to do is position this, and this can be just a tiny bit tedious, but honestly, it's not that hard. So I'm going to get that positioned right where I want it. And I think that looks good. And I'm going to pick that stamp up. Alright, while we're at it, let's go ahead and do this little stem right here. Or I'll tell you what, let's do the leaves next. So for this one, I'm going to take this one off, lay it over here, and I'm going to take my leaves now and position them where I want those to go. And what you want to do is just get them positioned right around the image, so that you make sure you're going to be getting color all over those. And I'm going to take this plate and put it right here, and I'm going to pick up the leaves. Now we got the leaves picked up. Let's see, now I'm going to turn this one over, and I'm going to put it in the opposite direction. My leaves are on this side, and I'm going to grab this little sprig that goes right up there, and that's this piece right here. And this piece is going to sit just like that. And then we'll pick that up. Now all we have to do is do our inking, and everything is in position for us. We're not going to move our paper. As long as we don't move our paper, all of those images are going to fit for us. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put this one down. We're going to do our leaves, and double checking that is correct. And I think I want to do my leaves. What color do we want those leaves? I want them in green, apple green, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to do my flowers in polished pink. I want this to really pop and be beautiful, and I love this. Y'all are hearing Bella in the background. She's snoring. Bella, come here, baby girl. She is snoring up a storm over there. So I'm gonna bring this over, and I'm gonna ink up. You can see I'm inking it. Let's go this way just a tad. Ink those up, and if you notice, the stamp is variegated. Do you see how it's got darker color and lighter color? These are distinctive stamps as well. So you know what I just did? I did my petals rather than my leaf. Oh my word. Okay, we're going to regroup. We're going to regroup, and we're just going to restamp this. It's not hard to do. We got everything already on here, so no foul. We're going to take that out and bring in a new piece. Thank goodness I have a lot of these cut. I'm going to line it up in the same spot where I had it. And I'm going to bring my magnets over to make sure that I hold this in place. Now we're going to turn this over. I'm going to clean that stamp because I definitely don't want that color to be on my stamp. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Mist, and I'm going to use it on a microfiber towel. You can pick these up. Auto stores have them. I think you can get them at the Dollar Tree, Walmart, most any place that sells any type of cleaning cloths. You'll be able to find these. And we're just going to go ahead and clean that up. I should have cleaned this one. That's okay. We're going to re-ink that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one over. Remember, this one goes in this direction, and we're going to go ahead and turn this around, and And we're going to ink this up with our Memento Black. We're just doing everything over again because I made a major blunder. And it happens. I'm talking and trying to stamp and think what I'm doing. So, you know, those type of things happen. And this might happen to you with your stamping. Where's my little pressy tool? And there we go. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, it needs to be inked again. So we'll just go in and put some ink on that one more time. And bring it over and give it a good rub. Nice little circular motions, works really good for this. It puts even pressure. And up, beautiful. Now we're going to turn this over, and I think we need to go in this direction. Yeah, and that's going to be our polished pink. Now while I've got that on there, I'm going to take that same cleaning cloth. It's got stamp cleaner on it, and I'm just going to wipe this down. That way I won't get ink on my my stamp case. Got a little bit on it, but because it's got a plastic cover on it, I can just go like that and clean that off with the stamp cleaner. Alright, so now we're going to use the polished pink. I think I got it right this time. So, I am going to tap, 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 tap. And then we're going to go over and press that in. Let's go ahead and use our little tool. And you can see I got ink under there. It's not on that stamp. It looks like it is, but it's not. It's on this side. Oh, that's beautiful. I think I want to ink it one more time, but before I do, find my little wet spot on here, and I'm going to clean that ink off right there. And I'm going to do my little tap, 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 and get a little bit more ink and give it a press. Okay, so now we have colored those flowers, just that simple. So I'm going to take and wipe those flowers, and let's lift this one out. Now we can bring over this one. Now this one has our leaves, and let's see, they go in this direction. Yep, like that. So I'm going to turn my Stampartus around, and I'm going to bring in my Granny Apple Green, and we're going to ink up the leaves. I think that was juicy enough that we probably are only going to need to do it one time. Give it a good press. I'm going to bring in my little tool. I love that Granny Apple Green with the polished pink. I think it's so pretty. And look at that. Are you seeing how pretty that is? So now we're going to flip the script, lift that out, turn it over, and then this lines up right over top of that, and I'm going to use crumb cake because I want these to look a little bit brown. You could use a different shade of green if you like. You could use the same color green, but I think the crumb cake just really adds something to this. So let me do this. And look how beautiful. Is that not gorgeous? And we did all of that with our Stampartus. Now I do have one more thing that I need to do, and we don't need the Stampartus for that. I have got some crushed curry for the center of our flower, and I went ahead and loaded this up on a block because it's just a tiny little dot. You see that? And I'm just going to ink that very carefully and stamp it right in the middle to give myself a center on my flower. Now I think this is absolutely gorgeous. All you need now is a sentiment, and I have one right here, and I want to do a birthday one. I think this one calls for birthday. What do you think? So let's just peel this one off, and let's go back into the stamp set, and see what this one says. For a very happy birthday. I love that. So I'm gonna sit it where I want it. You could do this with the Stampartus too, but I don't think we need to. I am going to put a magnet here just to kind of hold that for me. And I'm going to bring that right about there. And I'm going to stamp that in tuxedo black. So let's close up some of these ink pads that I've got still opened and get my black. The reason I want the black, I really want the sentiment to pop over top of the colors that we have. So then we're just going to put this right here and stamp it down. Gorgeous. Now all we need is a card base and a mat. So we're going to do that really quick, and I'm going to show you how quick you can put a card together by using your Stampartus and a two-step stamp set. Now here's another one that I did, and I used the Old Olive, and I used Orchid Oasis. I used Crumb Cake there and Orchid Oasis there. Something else you can do too is grab your Stampin' blends. So I'm going to grab an Old Olive and a Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I'm just going to come back in and color the stem. Just to give it some continuity. I think that's beautiful like that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on this one. And like I said, this is Old Olive. Make sure. Yep. So I'm just going to come up my stem just like that. I think that just gives it a little sense of purpose. And I want to grab a card base. Let's see, I don't think I have an Orchid Oasis or a... Alright, let me grab some white cardstock. Alright, I got a piece of white, and that will give me two card bases, and now I need mats. I want an Orchid Oasis and a polished pink. So, Orchid Oasis, I'm going to look in my scrap bin first to see if I have any pieces that are big enough for mats, and I don't. Let's check polished pink. And I do for the polished pink. So let me grab an Orchid Oasis. I use this color so much because I love it. I think it is stunning. It's not purple and it's not blue, but it is a beautiful shade. So I'm going to lay all of my Stampartus stuff over here. I'm going to grab out my trimmer. The first thing I want to do is cut down a piece of this that is going to be 3 3/4. Yeah, I'm making a little bit bigger, smaller mat, so we'll see more of the white. And I'm going to cut it to 5. I need to double check something and make sure that that's going to fit on there beautifully. Okay, so that's one. And now we need this one the same way. I need a piece that is, let's go this way. We're going to do it at 3 3/4. Right there. And by 5. And this is going to show you just how simple it is to make 2 cards in just one swipe. Alright, and there's that one. Isn't that gorgeous like that? Alright, those two are ready. Now we just need to cut our piece of thick basic white, and I'm going to go in and cut this down to 5 1/2 on the 11-inch side, and then we're going to turn it and score it at 4 1/4. Bring that score blade down and then just run it through. Nice fold. And then we're going to do the same thing with this piece. Put it in at 4. Give it a score. fold it. Then we need to get our bone folder out because we do need to crease this a little bit. Where's my bone folder? There we go. So I'm going to take my bone folder and just give it a good crease like this. I'm going to do front and back because I want it to lay down really nice. Do the same thing here. And now all I need to do is center this on here. And I think for this I want to pop this up. So whenever we want to pop something up, we're going to reach for dimensionals. So let's see. Yeah, I got dimensionals. So we're going to pull, I'm going to put one in each corner. You can see the stem because the alcohol markers will bleed through your paper. So, but the ink did not. So had I colored this, we would have had a little bit of a bleed through. Now I'm going to put 2 in the middle, and I think that's sufficient for holding this on there. I don't know, it feels like it needs a little bit more right there. I'm going to put 1 here and 1 here. Alright, let's grab that take your pick tool and let's see if we can pop that off. Get all of those little backers off. And I think that is all of them. Now we can lift this. I'm going to get this card base out from under me because I want to make sure that I'm getting this nice and centered. That looks good. Pat it down. Now I'm going to use some liquid glue and I'm going to just like that, and then we're going to center this right into the middle of our card base. And just that simple, we have a beautiful card. Now, and to embellish this, you may want to take a little piece of your baker's twine and tie a little bow. I'm going to see if I can do my little loop bow. I didn't cut quite enough for that, so you know what, we're just going to do a simple bow. I'm going to just do a bow like this, and the linen thread is so forgiving when you're making bows. I love the linen thread for that reason. If you struggle with bows, this right here is your best friend because you can make most any kind of bow with that linen thread, and it's so forgiving. So we're going to put this right about here. So I'm going to take a glue dot, and I actually want to roll it in my fingers because I want it to be small. So there's one of our glue dots, and I'm just going to roll that up just like that, and I'm going to stick it where I want my bow, and I think right about there would be good. And then I'm going to take the knot of that bow and set it right into that glue dot. And there is my bow. It's secure, it's on there, and that was a fast card. Now you can mat the inside however you please. I think it would be really pretty to put another piece of this Orchid Oasis and maybe even another one of these scallop cuts and then stamp another sentiment or write a handwritten note inside. That's one. So now let's go back to this one. I'm going to turn him over. And let's go ahead and put some dimensionals. Let's see, did I put my center in this one? Yes, I did. Okay, I couldn't remember if I did or didn't. So 1 in each corner, 1 here, 1 here, and then maybe 1 here and here. I think that gives it a lot of stability, so I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these off. go ahead and glue this one down right here on this piece. Now remember, if you're in love with this stamp set, you will if you place a $100 order on my Stamping Up website, and that will be linked below, and it will also be in my blog, which my blog will be linked below as well. And then if you, before shipping and tax, $100 before shipping and tax, and you can get this stamp set for free. And I'm telling you, it is a dynamite stamp set to have in your stash, because I think this will be one you will use over and over. And you can do so many all occasion cards with this stamp set, all depending on the colors, the color of ink that you use to color in. So I think that makes it very, very versatile. So I'm going to press that down, and there is our second card. Quick, easy, very, oh, let's do our bow. We got to do a bow on this one, and I might do a couple gems on it. And my magnet is stuck to my scissors. I was wondering, why won't my scissors come up? I had a magnet on them. Okay, we're going to cut a little piece. Try not to waste as much this time. But you know, you need a little bit of thread to tie a bow, because once you pull those tails, and you pull the loops, your tails have to be long enough to accommodate it. So I think we got it with this one. Here we go. A little bit more over here. I like to make my loops small and then pull them, and then that gives me just the size bow that I want. And I'm going to pull those tails down. So this stuff is so easy to manipulate, and that's why I love it so much. And I'm going to cut that off, and then cut this off just a hair. And then this is ready to go right here. And again, I'm going to grab, these are our glue dots. These are so good for putting down most anything, but I usually use my take your pick to get them off, but I'm just using my finger. Since I'm not putting them, I'm rolling it into a little round ball, because that's all I need. And I'm going to lay it right about here. And then I'm going to put the knot of that bow right in it and give it a press. That bow's not going anywhere. So now let's look at some gems. I think I'm just going to go in with some of our basic rhinestones. That you never can go wrong with these. Pearls is another thing you can never go wrong with, but I think these will show up better on here than pearls would, because we're going to put it on that white part of our card. So get some of this stuff out of my way. My pen. Okay. So I'm going to use the smaller ones because this is so dainty, and I think I'm going to put one maybe right here, and one maybe right here, and let's do one more right about here. And look how much that dresses the card up just by throwing in 3 gems on each card. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put one right here, I'm going to put one right here, and one right about here. And there is our 2 cards. All we have to do now is put an inside in, and I'm not going to do that because I love to have cards like this already pre-made, so that when I need to send a card, it's very simple, very quick, very easy. I hope that you can take away from this video the fact that your Stampartus is really a super tool to have. Now, it's an investment piece, but it's the only stamping platform that I know of that has the removable doors where you can turn them over, and you can be, you know, in some of the other ones, and I won't mention names because I don't want to knock one product over the other, the door doesn't move. It opens and it shuts, and it doesn't give you the versatility that this one does. Plus, because this one is open on 2 sides, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take these out. Because this is open on this side, you can put a larger piece of paper in it. Some of the stamping platforms, you're limited. You have to put your paper, you can't use a large piece of paper. This one you can, and by the way you turn it, you can get your stamped image wherever you want it. So I have never used a stamp positioning tool quite like this one, and I love it for that reason. This is my go-to stamping platform, not just because I sell them, and I say this all the time. It has nothing to do with what I sell. It has to do with my personal preference. This Stampartus is one thing that I have the pink one, and y'all know which one I'm talking about. I have two of them. I have the small one and the medium-sized one, and I have tucked both of them away. This is my go-to stamping positioning tool because of its versatility. The other thing is the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I have bukus of other embossing machines, but I go to what works for me and what works the best, and that's the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So, and I use that to cut out these pieces here with those scallop contour dies, and I had that die out a few minutes ago. I just don't know what I did with it. But anyway, oh, here it is. I ran just white cardstock through and cut these out, and that gave me that beautiful little piece. It's stitched all around and scalloped all around, and I think it's so cute. And that set of dies, let me show them to you. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dies that are scalloped. You get this one piece that is just an edger where you can do a scalloped edge, which I think is so neat. And then this did come with a stamp set, and it has flowers that you could actually stamp and cut out. But this is just a standalone stamp set that you'll find yourself turning to it over and over and over. So it is a wonderful, you can see the blue tag, this is in our annual catalog. This, of course, with the green tag on it, means that it's a celebration item only. So they're limited. You only have through the end of February to get an order in order to receive this for free. So, this stamp also has these little dots, which would be beautiful to come back in with some gray and just do a little bit of dotting around it. I'll tell you what, let's do that. I didn't think to do that earlier. I think this would really add to our card, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's do it on one and not the other, and you'll see the difference. Okay, let's get this little piece of paper out because I'm going to stamp off. I'm going to get some smoky slate. This is my favorite gray because it's soft, and I think it's going to work well with this stamp. Let me grab a stamp block. We'll pick that up, and I'm going to ink it, and I'm going to stamp off. Oh, it's already very, very pale. Okay, I think we'll be fine just going straight in. So I'm going to go in about there, maybe right about there. Let's go up in here, and maybe a little bit right there. Just that little subtleness just really can add to your card, and you can see it's not in your face, but it is subtle, and I love that. So I'll probably do both of those, but I just wanted to show you that everything in this stamp set is so useful, and I think you are going to love that particular set. I know I do. It's probably going to be one of those that I'm going to tuck away in my own personal stash and not put up for sale. Speaking of a sale, if you have not checked out my blog, go down and look. I have some very good stamp sets. Some of them are brand new, some are slightly used, but they are absolutely gorgeous stamps and dies, and stamp and die set for 20 bucks. You cannot beat that, and I have quite a few left on my blog. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email with the name and the dollar amount of the stamp, because that makes it easy for me to find it if I know what dollar amount it is without having to go and dig through all of each bin. I can go right to that bin, find the stamp, because I have them listed alphabetically, and I need your mailing address so I can calculate shipping. Shipping is not included because they are such a good price. $20, $15, $10, and $5. So nothing over $20, and all of the ones that are $20 include stamps and dies. So thanks so much for tuning in. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Until we stamp again, until we craft again, God bless and keep you. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.